Hello, is this thing on? Hey, what's going on, guys? Another yap incoming about another Game Boy game. This game, it's not a Game Boy Advance game, though, so I kind of broke the trend there a little bit, but it still is a classic and a very underrated, maybe overrated game, actually, in my opinion, too. Of course, we're talking Pokemon Crystal. One I personally have never played. I had Pokemon Gold when I was a kid, and I honestly never played through it completely either. So this is a generation I've actually never gone through completely. I think I've made it to the sixth gym. I've never beat the seventh or the eighth, and I never went to Kanto or any of that. And I'll get into that a little later. It was really cool to revisit Kanto in an older region within this game, and I'm surprised they never did that again in any of the other games as far as I'm concerned. Crystal came out December 14th, 2000, the year of the millennium. This game is 24 years old, man. Like, holy shit, the 24th anniversary of this game just passed, and I didn't even realize that. That is insane. Gold and Silver came out a year earlier. They're continuing the trend that they started with Red and Blue, where they kind of released two games that are like similar, right? They might have different plot points, but they definitely have different Pokemon that are exclusive to the others. And then the third one releases the next year, which is like a combination of both the games and changes the story in some aspects in some different ways that the first games don't normally do. You know, they go on to continue this with Ruby and all the other ones down the road, or most of them anyway. And I know what you're thinking. There's no way he beat this in a week. He's lying. Let me tell you a little bit what I did at Jefferson, of course. So I have a silver copy, a silver cartridge with a dead battery that I've been meaning to change forever because I did want to play through silver at some point, and then I just realized I don't really care, I have this R36 emulator I've been talking about for a couple episodes now. Pokemon Crystal's on it. So I booted it up, and I'll tell you what I did to get through it so fast, man, and what I did to get through this in a week. And I did not expect to, by the way, but it has a fast forward option, man, so you can make the game just go so fast. And it was just so clutch for keeping me involved in this, because I genuinely think this game would have taken me over a month to play if I had to sit there and work on it a little bit at a time, which I know is kind of the point, right? That's kind of the point of these Pokemon games, is to slowly level your guys up and get through the game. But, since I've kind of played Gen 2 already, I wanted to just fly through it just because, I already knew what it was about. I already knew what was going on for the most part, right? I think I made it to Olivine City in the original playthrough I did all those years ago, way back when I was a young tadpole, and I was gonna say young tadpole in my dad's balls, but I was born at the time, so it wouldn't make any sense. So because I've only played Gold way back in the day and don't really remember much about it, I don't exactly remember what events in this game, in the Crystal playthrough I just did, were unique to this game or whatever. I'm pretty sure you follow Suicune around in this game, the ice legendary dog or whatever it is. I actually don't know anything about these legendary dogs in this game. But yeah, you follow Suicune around various parts of the map in this game, which I don't ever remember being in Gold, so correct me if I'm wrong there, but I thought that was really interesting. There's going to be no structure to this video, man. There's this thing's going to be all over the place. I just genuinely have no idea what to talk about when it comes to these games, but I guess I should start with the starter Pokemon that I chose. Wow, that was a good one, dude. But yeah, I went with Chikorita, man. I've always chosen Totodile and Cyndaquil, the fire and grass starters, or I'm sorry, fire and water starters, but I never ever have ever chosen Chikorita. So I was like, you know what? I'll show some love to the grass type here. When Chikorita, Meganium actually ended up being one of my clutches. Stayed with me throughout the whole game, of course, like everybody does with their starters. And I'll get through my team by some time in this video as well. Everybody has their type that they go for when they start a new Pokemon game. I feel like I don't, though, man. I'm kind of all over the place. In Gen 1, I always choose Squirtle because I'm a Blastoise glazer. I love Blastoise. What's not to love about a giant turtle with fucking cannons coming out of its shell? Come on, guys. I'm surprised Blastoise isn't more popular. Definitely underrated. And then in Gen 2, I normally go for Cyndaquil, I believe, just because I like Typhlosion, even though it's a pedophile or some shit I was reading about recently. That's crazy, by the way. I'm not going to get into it because I have an idea of what it's about, but something about Typhlosion being a pedophile, I don't know. I also think Feraligator's pretty cool. I mean, the two just look way cooler than Meganium. That's the problem. And then in Gen 3, I always choose Trico. I did Mudkip one playthrough. I've done Blaziken as well, or Torchic, whatever it is, but I just like Sceptile, man. I like the grass types. I love having Giga Drain. I like having Solar Beam. I don't know, man. I just really, really enjoy the grass type starters. And then in the fourth, what is it, Black and White? I can't even remember the starters in those games. You know what? I'm just going to look up all the generation starters right now just so I can see what I've chosen, just because I'm genuinely curious. Okay, so Gen 4 had Turtwig, Chimchar, and Piplup. I chose the Fire Monkey. Only played through that game once. Or no, Gen 4 was Diamond and Pearl, right? Gen 5 is Black and White, which was Snivy, Tepig, and Oshawott. I didn't like any of these, so I chose Snivy just because I thought it was the coolest looking. It's the grass type. Gen 6 had Chespin, Fennekin, and Froakie. Of course, the famous Greninja that we all know. I actually didn't choose Greninja. I chose Fennekin. And I think, Delphox is the final evolution. And I didn't touch Gen 7 at all. I think this was Sun and Moon. I just had no interest in these games at all. And then I think Sword and Shield was the last Pokemon game I played. And I chose the Fire Bunny for that generation, who later went on to become my Pokemon Unite main, Cinderace. I absolutely love that guy in Unite. Wasn't too impressed with Sword and Shield though, so I don't know. Maybe it's just these Pokemon games. They kind of just, they just print money. They kind of just don't really innovate in any strong way, really. And to be fair, they don't really need to, man. These games are just so iconic in their own right. But I feel like that's why I just don't really care about the franchise anymore. It's just gotten so easy. Well, it's always been easy, right? It's always been so easy. It's not really a challenge. It's just time you put into it. But it's still fun, right? It's still a great time. So yeah, looking back, I guess I chose fire and grass starters for the most part. Mostly fire starters with the exception of Squirtle, man. The only water type I go for is Squirtle, so that's really interesting to me. I love Blastoise, obviously, and just rely on the grass and fire. I think I choose fire most of the time just because, I don't know how you guys feel, but I feel like, and I definitely felt like this in Crystal, there's just no good, fire wild Pokemon out there that aren't legendary. In Gen 2, I was actually struggling to find a fire type that wasn't Cyndaquil, right? Because I obviously chose Bailey, or what was it, Chikorita at the beginning. So my options were Growlithe and Arcanine, which I ended up getting for one of my teammates. I had the choice of Slugma, I think, which I couldn't find. I had the choice of Houndoom, but I had to wait till fucking Kanto to unlock the thing, which is so stupid. I'll get into that a little bit later. And then that was pretty much it, man. There's also Ponyta and Rapidash, but I've had them in the first game before, so I didn't want to get them again. That's why I ended up going with Growlithe and Arcanine. I've used them a couple times before in the past, but never in Gen 2. And that's kind of why I remember choosing Chikorita as my grass starter, because I just remember there not being that many interesting grass types in this game. Because when I like to play, and I'm sure there's a lot of other people like this too, but I like to have a very diverse team with a bunch of unique movesets and abilities, just to kind of pull out whatever you need in the heat of battle, obviously. I mean, that's kind of what building a party is, right? You want to have something that's very versatile and diverse, can tackle a lot of problems, That's one of the things that kind of sucks about these old games too, right? Is because when you try to, there's just not enough Pokemon, that we have today, right? There's over 1,000 now. Obviously, they added 100 and some odd more in this generation, and there's a bunch of ones from the old generation too, which is nice. But yeah, it still feels like in this portion of the game, there's just not that many options for a lot of different types. There for stuff like normal and flying. It seems like there's a handful of stuff, but then you get into there's just not a lot of fires, not a lot of grass types, not a lot of electric types. At least before you get to Kanto anyway, and that was one of my biggest problems of the game. There's a lot of cool Gen 2 stuff that I actually wanted to try out and use, but you had to beat the Elite Four and then go over to Kanto. So it kind of felt to me, that just felt like it just took way too long and it's way too in the end game. I'm trying to build my team out before the Elite Four. And in this game, or in just in Gen 2 in general, I didn't really like how that played out personally. I understand they kind of had to give some incentive to want to explore further, I guess. I don't know. I really wanted Houndoom and Houndour or whatever to be my fire type, whatever the bigger one is. And, you just have to wait till Kanto. And I'm I don't want to sit there and wait to fucking get this Pokemon to start leveling it up. You know what I mean? I don't know. Am I crazy for that? On the topic of Kanto, I guess we'll just continue talking about that part of the game. I actually really enjoyed it. You know, I thought it was really cool. I like how you don't start at Pallet Town like you normally do in Gen 1. You actually take the boat from the first game to Viridian City, and the first gym leader you fight is the, Surge, the electric guy from that city in the first game. And then the way you navigate Kanto is you're kind of all over the place. And Saffron kind of acts as like the central hub, kind of like it does in the normal one, but you actually cross through it a lot more in this game than you do it in the first one. So I don't know, I kind of messed with it, you know, like when I expected to go back to Kanto and I heard about it all these years, I was like, oh, okay, it's just going to be, you know, another playthrough, another Elite Four. And it wasn't like that at all. They switched up enough stuff. Like you have to go to the power plant and help them fix up the power plant, and then you can use like the monorail car between that Goldenrod City and Saffron City, which is really awesome. You get to fight a bunch of the old gym leaders like Brock and Misty from the first game, which is pretty cool. I really like how in the last gym, that's normally Giovanni's gym in the first game, you fight Blue, right? Or your rival from the first game, which is so cool. And then you later go on to fight Red, like the protagonist, and, you know, Ash or whatever from the anime. And he has his whole decked out team. I actually didn't go through and do that. I got to him at the end. My save is literally standing right next to Red at the end of the game. And I'm like, I could sit here and train for days and maybe even weeks to fight this guy and beat him. But it's like, what's the fucking point? You know, I don't want to sit here and do that. Even with the fast forward, it just takes so long to level up. And my highest guy right now is like 63 or 64, I think. And it's a Togetic. I'll go through my party in a minute and what I had. But yeah, it was a Togetic. I fought him one time. He has a Pikachu that's level 81 that comes out first. And I was like, okay, yeah, we're not going to win this fight at all. I managed to kill his Pikachu with all 6 of my guys, and then I died to like a Charizard or something. I can't remember what his second guy was, but it was also like a level 70 Charizard. I'm like, yeah, this isn't happening. This is where my playthrough ends. So yeah, didn't do that. Didn't catch any of the legendaries either, you know? Normally, if it was a game I planned on playing for longer, I would go... Actually, when I did my yellow playthrough, I went through and killed all the legendaries and saved, just because I've never done that before. I should have went on a legendary kill run through in this game too, but in this game, isn't it hard to find the dogs, right? Like, they're kind of like Latios and Latias from Gen 3, like, where you have to randomly encounter them, which I thought was the stupidest thing ever. I feel like every legendary Pokemon, there should be a place where you meet it at, you know, kind of like the Sky Temple for Rayquaza and like the volcano and the sea part for Kyogre and fucking whatever his name is, Groudon. I don't know, man. I'm not a fan of the random encounter legendaries. You know, I think it's corny as shit. So another underrated thing about this game is the story progression. You know, a couple things like that stood out to me were Blaine, you know, the fire guy from the first game. He's on Cinnabar Island. Well, in this game, the volcano erupted and Cinnabar Island's kind of like fucked, right? And there's just one cave. You have to fight Blaine in this cave because he's like the only one left residing on the island, which is pretty cool. It's like really, it's really noble, man. Blaine is a very noble dude for that. And then what is it? The Fuchsia City. I'm Asian. Fusion City. The Fusion City. Fuck me, dude. The Fuchsia City gym that's normally Koga, he's actually a guy in the Elite Four that you fight, and his daughter takes over the gym in Kanto. So that was just super cool, man. I really like to see that, you know, because it really felt like playing and years had passed and coming back to Kanto. You know, I've always played like Fire Red, Leaf Green, you know, the newer ones that got remade on, I didn't play on the Switch, but I'm always just used to traditional Kanto. You know, you go in, you expect the same thing over and over again. But I really liked how Crystal kind of flipped that, or Gen 2 in general, just kind of flipped that around. And it's like, okay, there is some actual progression from the first game and some different things. I don't know. I like that a lot. Wheezing. I'm wheezing. No, I hate losing a sneeze. Come on, man. Fuck. Oh my god, it's the worst feeling ever. My nose is so tickly, but it won't come out. Oh shit. I can't believe I was recording when I said all that shit. Oh my god. I'm gonna leave it in anyway. Screw it. I can't even remember what I was on about now. I guess this could be a good time to talk about what team I had. So, of course, I already told you I chose Chikorita as the starter. So we have a Meganium. I have my device right here, so I'll just read off the levels too. I have a level 61 Meganium called Fugu. By the way, these names are just gonna be super random and they really have no explanation. So Fugu is my Meganium, level 61. I then kept the Togepi that what's-his-name gives you and you hatch from the egg, and I evolved it into a Togetic. That's level 65. That's my highest one. Its name is Egg, A-Y-G-E. I wanted to call it Egg, but how Frank Reynolds says it from Always Sunny, Danny DeVito's character, he goes Egg. So that's kind of what I was going for there, because, Togepi's an egg. So it just makes sense. It makes sense, okay? Relax. It makes sense. My third Pokemon is a female Kingler that I called Pearl. I was going to call it Eugene, like Eugene Krabs, until I realized it was a female. So I just called it Pearl, as in Pearl the Whale, his daughter. So that's the explanation there. They should really call it Queenler, man. I don't know why they haven't made a Queenler. I kind of just realized that now, Why is the female still a Kingler? It should be called a Queenler. Like, bro, come on. It's 2024, Nintendo. Please, man. Please. My fourth guy was a level 57 Onyx named Sven. No reason there. Just valid naming him Sven. I have Dante, the Arcanine, level 50. He was named after Dante's Inferno, some sort of hellish fire figure. So I was like, you know what, that works. That works perfect. And then the last guy I had, this was my HM slave. It was a Wooper for the most part, with just a bunch of random letters in his name. And then it was Noctowl for a little bit. And now it's the red Gyarados that you catch, the shiny Gyarados from the Lake of Rage, I believe it's called, right? And I just called him Red Guy because it's pretty obvious he's just a red guy. Needed him because he was my waterfall guy. Nothing else I had I could teach waterfall to, so I had to bring him along, teach him waterfall to, I believe, progress up Mount Silver as well. So he's a good little bitch for doing that. I think that's all I can really say about, this game. It really truly is the same exact version of the first game, even with the same location at the end of the game. They just perfect the formula a little more. There's a lot of quality of life changes that are good. I like seeing the XP bar on your fight screen so you can actually know how close you are to leveling up. More variety in moves and Pokemon as well. It just took the formula, did it again, but improved it. So, there's not really much else to say with that. Oh, I forgot to say what I named my character. I called him Tony. Tony, because I've been watching The Sopranos lately for the first time ever, and I'm super, super into it. I've been really enjoying The Sopranos, so I called my character Tony because he don't fucking don't. All that being said, we're probably not going to do Retard of the Week again this week because I can't justify doing it for these older games. This game is 24 years old. It's obviously very dated. I just don't think you can really give genuine criticism of a game this old, It was just another piece of the puzzle to what we have nowadays, And I'm sure there's no modern reviews on it anyway. So we'll move on to our final segment here. What has Jerry been playing? What have I been gaming on the past week? Let me tell you really quick. It's been Overwatch, no different there. No new story there. Been playing a little bit of Rivals, not too much. I've been playing a little Mecha Bellum as well. And then that's really it, man. Just Overwatch, Mecha Bellum, nothing too out of the ordinary. Not really playing anything single player right now, When I was talking about Super Monkey Ball last week, I was playing through Crystal as well. So I had a lot of time to finish this, maybe just a little over a week. So, the fast forward really helped out with that. And I haven't really been playing another single player thing recently. So I genuinely have no idea what next week's episode is going to be. Guys, I'm sure we'll find something to play, or if not, we might come up with an off angle or something. So no idea what to look forward to. So yeah, I guess keep your eyes peeled for insert game name here that we're going to talk about next week, man. So that's going to do it. I really appreciate it. Let me know what I missed in the comments. Let me know what I didn't talk about in the comments. Let me know what your favorite thing about Crystal is in the comments. Call me a faggot in the comments. Write the number 23 in the comments. Type the letter Q in the comments. Drink a bottle of water in the comments. Exercise in the comments. Work out, you fat piece of shit, in the comments. And with all that being said in the comments, take the comments and have a nice comments. Have a nice rest of your week comments, day comments, and also month comments, all right? Take care, guys. Peace.